Dun 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 dun. I love Star Wars, and I've recently watched the whole Obi-Wan series. And while it's fresh in my mind, I thought I'd share my opinion of the series with you. Welcome to another episode of Just in Time Worlds with your host, Marie Mullaney. If you like this kind of content and you'd like to help me create more of it, you can buy my book on Amazon.com or hit my Ko-fi page where I have both memberships and one-off donations available. Word of warning, I am going to spoil the whole of this mini-series. If you have not yet seen it and you do want to, maybe go watch it first and then come back and watch this review. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, let's first talk about what I liked. I really liked Obi-Wan's broken state at the beginning of the show. It felt earned to me. I had watched the prequels, I had watched Obi-Wan watch his Padawan fall. I'd watch, Darth Vader go from a cute kid to a fallen hero, and Obi-Wan had been there for every step of the journey. His state of his psyche felt correct for what he had been through. I really enjoyed the fact that he couldn't access the Force as he once had. The Jedi philosophy, as I understand it, is one of emotional control. You control your emotions, you reach into the Force through that control, and you draw on the light side. And I understand that Obi-Wan is in such turmoil internally. He's fallen into such a state of depression that he cannot access the Force, that the Force hides itself from him, and he has fallen to despair. What also worked for me is the gradual return of hope, and with it, the control over his depression, and therefore relearning the Force, so that as the miniseries goes on, his abilities in the Force resume. I really liked that alien dude with a weird mouth that betrayed them to the Empire. I liked that this dude believed in the Empire, that he saw that the Empire was doing good, and that he had no problem betraying the Jedi to the Empire. He had bought the Empire's propaganda. This felt real to me. He was just an average Joe buying what the Empire is selling, and ultimately he betrayed the heroes to the Empire. Now I'm gonna say it, I really liked Third Sister. I liked the fact that she had this passion-filled rage that fueled the dark side, because that to me is the Sith. The Sith is driven by passion. They're driven by strong, hot emotions. That's how they access the Force. So the fact that she had these strong, hot emotions worked for me. Also, I feel that if Darth Vader had been the main pursuer of Jedi, that would take away from the mystique. It feels like a more minion-orientated job. It feels like something that there should be something like the Inquisition for that hunts the Jedi, or the remnants of the Jedi. And so that part of it felt very real. And of course, once they discovered Obi-Wan, Darth Vader did get more involved. But he still delegated to her, which also felt real. It especially felt real right at the end when Vader says to her, I knew that you were trying to get your revenge. Because that kind of delegation would just make her feel more safe in her plan and would ultimately play into Vader's hands in terms of forcing her to show her hand so that he can then act against her. It was very well played and well earned. And I've seen comments on the internet of people saying they didn't like the way it was acted or whatever. I disagree. I think that Moses Ingram did a great job in portraying a complex character, and one that I really liked brought to the screen. I liked the fact that one of the younglings survived. I liked her revenge-driven attitude. I really liked that at the end, when she's standing over Luke, she doesn't kill him. I like that her journey is one not of redemption, but of resistance to temptation. It felt in keeping with the Star Wars universe for me. Yes, she fell along the way. She slipped, she used the dark side, she killed many Jedi, she did many terrible things. But at the end, she realized that revenge is a hollow emotion and she gave it up. And that felt great. It felt like a real character arc that I could get behind. So yes, I liked Third Sister. I liked the character journey that she went on from being a youngling to being a Jedi hunter to revealing that in fact she's doing this to destroy Darth Vader, to failing to destroy Darth Vader. The failure was also very well done. Her then switching targets to Luke felt very real, and then ultimately resisting the temptation of killing a child was so earned. It felt so real, to me at least. So I really enjoyed the Third Sister arc. The final duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader felt great. Obi-Wan having some access to the Force and the interjections of their last training battle from the prequels and the way that Darth Vader seemed to win by burying him in that pit with rocks, Darth Vader's power in the Force, it was all fantastic. And then I almost thought that Darth Vader was going to win and just walk away, leaving Obi-Wan in the pit. And then Obi-Wan finally takes that last step of realizing that he is still a Jedi. He can still offer the galaxy his insight, wisdom, his abilities, like not all is lost. And so he ultimately reconnects with the Force and then beats Vader. And when he beats Vader and he leaves him with the half mask, so you can see half of Anakin's face and the other half is still covered with a mask, it's such a foreshadowy moment. And then when Anakin says, Anakin is dead, I am all that remains. And Obi-Wan responds with, then my friend Anakin is truly dead, and goodbye, Darth. And he walks away. It was just so satisfying and in keeping with the Star Wars mythos. And I felt that it connected me with the Star Wars that I remember. And if you like this highlight of the things that I enjoyed about Star Wars, hit the thumbs up button and let's talk about things that didn't work for me so well. So in the first episode, Leia is basically an uncatchable 10-year-old. She's running around there and no one can catch her. Not the Third Sister, not Obi-Wan himself. She just evades everybody like a ninja child, except she's 10 and running really slowly. It was not believable. It was done for plot convenience, and they should have found a better way. Absolutely did not work for me. And speaking of Leia and Obi-Wan, I liked that they brought in Leia and Luke. I liked the way that the story was set up. But for the next Star Wars, I'd appreciate a story that is not an outlaw guarding a child. It would be nice to have a new story that is not that particular story, because that was also told in The Mandalorian. The first duel between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan didn't feel as rewarding. It felt a little contrived, and while the moment when Darth Vader walked into the dueling area felt frightening, and while it really worked for me while he was killing people, walking towards Obi-Wan with this real menace, and Obi-Wan was watching, what he thought of still as his friend, being this psychopathic, monstrous creature person, the duel itself was a little The way that Obi-Wan got away was a little I think that they could have done something better there. I'm not 100% sure what, but I feel like something better could have been done there. The final thing that didn't really work for me is right at the end, Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost appears to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan has been trying throughout the movie to connect with Qui-Gon Jinn, and he just hasn't been. And then they have this little conversation where Qui-Gon's like, yeah, but I was here all along, you just weren't ready to see me. And that felt, yes, those are all true things, but it felt a little on the nose. It felt a little like you're now driving the point a little ham-handedly here. You could step back from that. I could have done without Qui-Gon's ghost there at the end, or maybe I could have done with just seeing Qui-Gon's ghost without the conversational aspect of driving the point in that ham-handed fashion. So those are the things that didn't work for me. And if you like that, hit the thumbs up button. Overall, I really enjoyed this miniseries, especially after the disappointment of the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett was terrible. I'm sorry, but it was. Mostly because of the flashbacks. Instead of getting a story about Boba Fett running a criminal enterprise and all of the fun that would have come from that activity, from him taking over the Hutt territory and stamping his authority down on Tatooine, instead of any of that, we get a series of flashbacks to Boba Fett learning fighting techniques from the Desert Raiders. Like, no, guys, no, that's not the right character for it. I'm sorry, but it's not. So after that disappointment, Obi-Wan really felt like a great return to Star Wars proper. I do recommend it, and I give it a very solid 8 out of 10. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Please do keep it respectful. And I will see you soon for another episode of Just in Time World.